Okay. Branding, branding, branding. That needs to get overhauled everywhere, okay, to declare the personal names of God. Period. For example, that says Kirkland signature. That doesn't mean anything to me. It should read Godland. That would be a far better choice that is simply a choice. It is a wisdom choice that glorifies God, pleases God, makes humans think about God, and therefore it inspires all righteous behavior, all worship, all love, all integrity, everything that the Bible professes, everything that Jesus says, who is God in the flesh. When you put God's names everywhere, He actually blesses your business. Wow. Okay, so this is going to happen in the world in a huge way in my lifetime. Mark my words, you are going to see the total end of businesses and buildings and products and clothing that are not branded with the personal names of God. This is simply going to be a God revolution that He is going to ordain, where people proudly put the personal names of God on everything that they sell, produce, build, you name it. Okay? That's it. It is a simple decision. It's a simple act, okay, that pleases God, glorifies God, okay, makes people worship God and love God and think about God, which is the greatest commandment, and therefore God is pleased, and everything increases, like people's morality in the country, morality in the business, accountability, you name it. You name it. I've already said enough, okay? You put the personal names of God on everything in this universe, okay? From the building, like, don't call it Costco. No, we're done with that. That's very stupid, it's very cheesy, and it's very boring, and it does not invite the glory of God. Don't call it Costco. Call it God's supply store. Something like that, okay? But that is exactly what I'm talking about. For every business, every building, and every product in the universe. That is how that you invite the supernatural, the glory of God on this planet like never before. Okay? Because when you put God's personal names everywhere, it makes people think about God all the time. Maximum faith, righteousness, holiness, morality, worship of the Lord, proper mind share, which God delights in because God reads all minds 24/7 and He wants total worship, okay, flowing through this thing in all humans 24/7. Okay, how do you encourage that and do that? Well, by putting God's personal names everywhere, in plain view, everywhere in this universe, so that people see it all the time. And therefore people never stop thinking about God, trusting in God, believing in God, behaving as though God is watching, which He always is, but it's just a perfect reminder. And quite frankly, if you go really high like I am, and you know that letters have to be mathematically gorgeous in order to scream out the finest of everything, it's like, but, okay, that's what I'm saying. That is what is coming to the world in the biggest way you can imagine, okay? Because, once people start experiencing God's divine blessing upon that behavior, everyone is going to jump in like you wouldn't believe, okay? And everything everywhere will be branded with the personal names of God, because everyone wants God in the building. And they want God's power on their side. And they want God's miracles flowing through the business, the products, the people, you name it. It's going to be amazing. Okay. You will see miracles happen like crazy when God is glorified and worshipped in this way. It's that simple. Okay. You put God's personal names up front and center in the biggest font, the biggest letters in any place in the world. Okay. Have you noticed that everything is all about font sizes? Like, the physical world is no different from, the printed page. It's like the giant letters on the front of a building tell me whether or not that building worships God. Do you want to impress God? Do you want to invite the supernatural into your building, into your business? You've got to put the name of God in huge capital letters, as bright and central and glowing as can be, on the front and every side of your building, so that everyone knows who you think about and worship in that building, no matter what goes on, whether it's a business, whatever. That's how you please God. You encourage humans to think about God by putting his personal names everywhere and putting them big. Okay? I'm not talking in a little corner in the staff room. No, no, no. I'm talking out on the front main entrance of the building. The biggest font on the site. The biggest letters in the country, proudly spelling out G-O-D in all capitals, lit up by night, so that everyone gets the message who we think about 24/7. And when man does that with everything in this universe, you will see blessing and miracles and joy flow like has never been experienced in all of world history. I promise you, God is waiting for us, this very generation, to do it. That's it. Okay? And, I've talked about, how this is going to obviously be on clothing, every product that exists, everything, vehicles, whatever, just anything and everything. Quite frankly, you can print letters on and put letters on just about everything in this physical universe. So go nuts and invite the blessing of God. It's just like, and in case you haven't noticed, God is a person, and he's waiting to be impressed by a human generation that does something, okay, for him, for the glory of his name, better than anyone who has ever lived. Because God is infinite. He can outdo the amount of pleasure and joy and happiness and wealth and prosperity and blessing that any human generation has ever experienced, just because this particular generation impresses God with what we do better than anyone who's ever lived. I promise you, okay? So, there you go. There you go, okay? G-O-D in all capital letters, okay? J-E-S-U-S in all capital letters, okay? Everywhere across this universe. And people will be shocked, okay, at how much happier, like actual miracles will happen. Like actual miracles. And people will feel pleasures inside of themselves. It's called the presence of God that they've never known before. As the light dawns this morning, shining on my face like a sign. Hallelujah. Yeah. That's it. And you have to do it seriously, okay? Like the letters all or nothing. Our Father, half a Father, Father. Like, if every single thing in the universe was branded perfectly with the personal names of God as I speak, and you would see miracles by God's hand everywhere, in everything, because now people are giving God the attention and the mind share, okay, and the worship and the thought that he deserves and demands, okay, and enjoys. There you go, okay.